Hi, beautiful sisters. This is Robin Nielsen, and I'm so excited to be here with you today on day 2 of our Inspiration Week. You know, it's so hard to believe that you can have the health and the life you want if you are feeling like I did way back when, with low moods, depression, anxiety, digestive problems, acne everywhere, feeling embarrassed and ashamed and no motivation and feeling fat and bloated and all those things. So it's really impossible to even think that it's possible for you to feel amazing. And so our team thought how incredible it would be to share some of the success stories that we know are out there. So we pulled together some amazing women pretty quickly, and they're going to share their stories with you because I'm sure you're tired of hearing mine. So without further ado, I would love to introduce to you the beautiful Rebekah Raines. Hi, Rebekah.
Hi, Robin. I'm happy to be here.
So great to be here with you today. So I would love to just start out, like I was talking, it's so hard for you to believe for yourself that you can feel so much better and heal from all of your symptoms. And it doesn't really matter what symptoms you have. What matters is that you take charge of your health and do something, right?
Right.
Anything, because then you'll continue to move in the direction of feeling so much better. And when you don't believe for yourself or you don't know it's possible, you can hold on to our belief. Because I didn't know it was possible. Rebekah didn't know it was possible, but now we do. So we believe for you, and you can just hold on to our belief.
Yeah.
So Rebekah, I would love for you just to share a little bit about where you're joining in from and you're just your life right now.
I'm joining in from nice, cold Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm in the Ann Arbor area in Michigan, and it's a lovely, I don't know, negative 15 degrees out there. And I live here with my 2 children, and I have a wonderful life. We spend a lot of time outside. We're nature lovers and garden lovers and anything that kind of promotes a whole healthy life.
Yeah, and what was that quote that you just read to me before we started? Because I think it's so appropriate.
Yeah, we were saying Amelia Earhart said the most effective way to do it is to do it. And we like that because it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean you have to do it right the first time. It means you have to start and you have to do it. And I've looked at this quote so many times in my life in so many situations. It's perfect for wherever you are.
Ah, that's awesome. And you just have to start. That's the hardest thing is just to get
Yep.
started. So what we want to hear from you today is we want you to go back in time to when you first noticed that that your health was kind of going sideways, and I think or downhill. And I think you had mentioned that it kind of started in your teens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was diagnosed at 17 with PCOS, but I had symptoms many years before that with crazy irregular periods. I had cycles for every 9 days for a year while I was in high school. And then I went several years without one at all. And that was horrible because with not having to cycle that often, you break out, you have crazy mood swings and exhaustion and, just a feeling of unwellness. And as a teenager, that's hard to understand. Looking back, I see it so differently than I saw it then. But that's where it all started, 15, 16 years old, and then diagnosed at 17. It was good to be diagnosed for me only because it helped me make a shift and a change. I don't think you need to be diagnosed to make a shift and a change, but it helped me as a 17-year-old, and it helped my mom because that was a big part of, my life as a teenager, is her support and her inspiration to look. That's where it started.
Yes, you had irregular menstrual cycles when you were a teenager, and it doesn't seem like as a teenager that would be a problem because menstrual cycles are kind of a hassle, right? So what made it a problem for you? Like, why did you and your mom decide that it was a problem?
Well, probably it wasn't the irregular menstrual cycles that made it a problem. It was the pain that I had. Um, Looking back, I'm not sure if it was cysts or what, but I would have excruciating pain and I would miss school very frequently, actually quite regularly. I think it was the cycle just without the period, maybe around ovulation that um, I had a lot of pain, and in the nether regions, pain, and the lower back pain, and the chest pain, and a lot of aches and pains. And my mother would tell you also the mood swings were unbearable for everyone. I learned young to take charge of that, but it was really tough. It was, yeah, it was near impossible.
And you had told me that your mom said something to you and your sister when you two were complaining about your aches and pains and all of that. What did your mom say to you?
Well, we didn't necessarily complain about them, but what she always said to us, and she'd kind of lean in with this motherly sort of energy, and she would say, just because you're feeling miserable doesn't mean everyone around you wants to feel your misery. And so it was our job to take control of where we were. And the beautiful thing about my mother is she didn't leave us to kind of figure out what that was on our own. She really helped guide us. And I know there's a lot of mothers in this community. uh, my mother changed my life because she helped me take charge of my health. She said, you can do this. You are in charge. But then she helped me do my research. She found Insulite for me 14, 15 years ago. And that was, that was life changing because that's when my body started get healing with the nutrients. That's when I was really able to say, okay, let's get these moods under control. Okay, that pain doesn't have to be there all the time. So it was instrumental. I actually asked my mom, what would you say to other moms? I'm going to pull it up here because I want to read it to you. What would you say to other moms who were helping their daughters getting a hold of your health, balancing your hormones, and all that goes with it? And she said, be open to non-traditional but research-based treatments. She's referring to what we end up doing. Develop a mindset that gaining permanent balance takes more time than you want it to, but it will happen. So that's what she wanted me to tell you ladies out there. Like, you can do it. It takes time, but you can do it.
Yeah.
So educate yourself.
So let's go back because we'll get to the excitement part in just a little bit. But we
Yeah.
want to go back to we just really touched on your regular menstrual cycles and
Mm-hmm.
you had a lot of pain in your abdomen and it kind of radiated up into your chest and your back. And then what was next for you? Like so moods, irregular menstrual cycles, some pain. Is there anything else that you experienced as you were kind of moving into your 20s and yeah.
Yeah, so I've had different ebbs and flows in my life between pregnancies and stuff, and I've experienced different symptoms of PCOS through that time. It's interesting because it gives me a perspective, a wide perspective of a lot of the symptoms. There are basically no symptoms that I haven't had that are traditionally associated with PCOS. So moving into my 20s, I had a lot of hirsutism, I can never say that, and a lot of manly type hair growth on my entire body. That was hard and embarrassing, and acne in my jaw and on my shoulders and my back. That was painful and embarrassing. I always had to work very hard to keep my weight balanced. And after each child, I have two children, um, it was quite a struggle to get back to where I was. So all these different symptoms. Probably as an adult, after one of my children, while I was nursing and not on the Insulite nutrients, the biggest thing for me was the mental part of it, the getting back my mental motivation and energy. And I know that a lot of us feel that. For me, that was the first thing that I needed to address so that I could make the other changes. So battling depression and kind of a melancholy about even wanting to try. But once you kind of get that little hope in your mind, like, oh, maybe it could be different. Like Robin said, we're holding that space for you. We're holding that hope for you. And we are right now. So if you think, okay, maybe I could do it. Well, she did it. Yeah, you can. Even that little inkling in your head, you can do it if you can think maybe. Because that's the first start, right? To do it if you're going to do it, like Amelia Earhart said. So, Robin, direct me back. Symptoms.
So you had hirsutism, and I think that
Hirsutism, I waxed, I bleached my arms, I never wore a two-piece bathing suit, wasn't interested, acne and hair loss, the mood imbalances. I think those are the major ones. I was told that I would never be able to have children because I just didn't ovulate. Well, I have two beautiful children. So that was another, quote, symptom of PCOS that I was able to overcome.
Yeah, and so that just wasn't true for you. You were told that.
Yeah.
And how did you feel when you were told that?
Well, I was 17 years old, so I was a little like, well, I'm 17. I don't want a kid. But later on in life, and it affected my decision to marry, and my husband, my then husband, and I, we knew we couldn't have children, and we were okay with that. We'd come to accept it, that maybe later on we'd adopt, or see what that looked like. Yeah, it affected me a lot, because then when I did become pregnant, I was like, what? It just goes to show you that what you're told you can't do, or you told are your symptoms that you're stuck with and that you can't heal, it's not true. You can change your body and you can change your life. And for me, it started in my mind. It started with my mentality and my hope. And then it started with the baby steps that I took because of that.
So now give us your journey to healing. So you had all these symptoms, and your mom started doing some research. So what did she figure out for you, and what did you start with? How did you start to overcome some of your symptoms?
Yeah, so in our research, we're discovering about, that our body's deficient, and so it's not working right. That's kind of like the underlying thing, right? Cells don't work right, body doesn't work right. So how can we help build healthy cells? How can we help build healthy organs and healthy body systems? And so as we're doing the research to learn about all those things, we're learning, oh, we need these vitamins and these nutrients, and actually these food. And as we're learning these things, we're going, okay, we need to compile all these vitamins. Well, we happened upon Insulite online, Google search, pretty sure. And we're like, oh, yeah, let's try this, because it has a lot of what we'd already been looking at. Plus, plus more. And we were excited about that. And yeah, Mom ordered it, and I got my little guidebook, and I just poured over that like it was going out of style. And you know what? I made baby steps, and I made choices, and I made changes that have affected me until I am now a lot of years later. I'm 35 now, so that was a while ago. I have a bit of experience in there of what do those baby steps look like. And what I would love to share with you guys is it's not always about all the baby steps. It's about the first big, what are you feeding your body? There's a lot of other things that will come in there, a lot of other things you'll learn, and we want to teach you those things. But the getting started is sometimes the hardest part. So 4 years ago, I'd had my son, I'd stopped nursing, and I was like depleted. This was before the Pregnancy Plus system. This was before you didn't have to get off your nutrients to have a baby. And I was about 45 pounds heavier than I am now, and I was exhausted, and I was struggling to keep moving forward. My son had been born with a lot of health complications, and it really just depleted me. I'd gone through a divorce, and it was very emotional and trying. And so I had all these things. I had a lot more symptoms than I had ever had in my 20s or my teens, a lot more. Because it helps when you take care of yourself for the long run. Excuse me. So I came out of this time just depleted. I decided to do the Freedom from PCOS program. It started, I think, like 2 months after I stopped nursing and been on the nutrients. So it was like big change in my body. And I could feel it right away, that changing my mind, changing my eating habits. And listen, I had been trying to eat well. This wasn't like I was just giving up. I was trying, but my body was so starving for the nutrients that it needed. I couldn't make good choices because my mental chemistry needed a lot more than I could give it. So once I started on the nutrients, I was able to say, no, I don't need to eat that. Yes, I want to eat this. I want to eat it in this time frame because it suits my body more. I want to turn the screen off at night. I want to, all these good choices that I could start making because I was giving my body what it needed. And that was exciting for me because I already knew that it worked. So I kind of had that advantage because I'd done it before. And so here I am a few years later now. I get to work with Insulite, and I love our team, and I love you guys. You are my heart, and I know your journey, and I've been on your journey. And you know what the beautiful thing is? It doesn't stop here. It keeps going and going and going, and we get to keep learning. We get to keep supporting each other. We get to keep on. Isn't that wonderful? But only this time it's like better because we get to be fully present. Our minds get to be clearer. Oh, that was the other thing. Brain fog. Like I couldn't even think about the next thing I needed to do. But now, other than just forgetting that I wanted to say that right now, I have a clear brain and it's wonderful. I can read things and understand it. There was a time when I felt less than intelligent because when our brains are foggy, it messes with us. So my heart is here with you ladies because I've been there and I've walked in your shoes and you've walked in my shoes. And now we get to move forward.
So well said. So you kind of got yourself to a pretty good place, and then you got pregnant. And we suggest that women go off the Insulite nutrients when you get pregnant. And at the time of your pregnancies, we did not have the Pregnancy Plus system. So you probably went on just a generic prenatal. And so a lot of your symptoms came back. And pregnancy can be
all of them
stressful on the body, right? So
Yep.
stressful. And so, so then once you had your kids, you were able to get back on the Insulite nutrients. And you can always keep doing the program because the program is a system. So there are five elements to the system, and they're nutraceuticals, so our nutrients, food as medicine, movement as medicine, cravings awareness, and support community. So Rebekah's kind of touched on a lot of those, and she's lived all of them for quite a few years.
Yeah. And here's what I know about the 4 elements that aren't the nutrients. Those ones are amazing and necessary, and you can't just use this one. But what I also know is that you can't just use these 4 without this one. I've done both. I've done it without the nutrients when I was pregnant and then nursing, and I suffered a lot, and just physically speaking, well, mentally too. But I also tried creating my own nutrients, and that hasn't worked either. That didn't work either. What I know is that together, that's really the most powerful way because it really is a balance. It's like Robin said, it's a system. It was made that way on purpose. She's designed the steps with reasons. They're not just there for no reason.
Yeah, you have to do it all together, right? So we have to replace the missing resources, which is what we talked about all last week.
Right.
Replace those resources. And so there is no one element that's more important than the other because all of the elements work synergistically, including the support community, which is like one of the most important elements. And we know that from this beautiful group.
Yep.
Yeah, so let me share my screen here because I want to talk. So, Rebecca is not only a huge success story, but she also knows our system inside and out. She works with a lot of our customers. She helps to just, you know, fuel them with love and inspiration and guidance. And so I thought it would be, rarely do we ever talk about this system, which is a shame because it's absolutely fabulous.
Yep.
But we're using this week to really inspire you to take action. So whether you jump into the PCOS 5 element system, which by the way I think is fabulous no matter what your age, right?
Yep.
Or whether you've been diagnosed with PCOS or not. I think it's just wonderful if you're experiencing hormone imbalances.
Yep.
It was wonderful for me. I've never been diagnosed with PCOS, but of course, if you look at all my symptoms, that's what I would have been diagnosed with. Had doctors even, if it had even been on their radar at the time. So this system, as you can see, there are the 4 nutrients, and you can also purchase the Plus system, which has the Omega Plus fish oil in it now. And then you get the system guide. You actually get email tips. You get our beautiful Facebook community where you can ask questions. We have monthly trainings. There's a lot of support, wonderful meal recipes, journals, things that you can do to stay on track. And then we have our resource page and modules that we're doing as well. So you get so much support. And Rebecca, why don't you talk a little bit about what it looks like when someone joins us?
So when someone joins, you of course receive a package in the mail and you get your supplements. And it's kind of an exciting time because you're like, all right, here we go, we're going to do it. You get organized. You have a little card right there telling you everything that you need to know to get started. And then you're, of course, receiving emails and you can join the Facebook group. This group is awesome because all these ladies, they're like us. They're just working the system, improving their health, making small choices that add up in the long run. Some ladies have been there a long time, many years, and some ladies are new. And it's amazing to see how we support each other because new people who come in new have new ideas and new questions, and people who've been there a while have answers, and then they get new ideas too. So it's really just a beautiful community of everyone working to learn to support their hormones and their health. And there's a lot of ages in the group, a lot of different cultures, and it really makes it kind of just a warm, loving environment. I don't think I ever see any negative comments that don't support each other. It's always like, you can do it. If someone says, I'm having a rough day, I don't really want to do this. Inevitably, some people will come back and say, you can do this. I've done it. I've been where you are. You can get through it. And we need this, right? This was the first time I mentioned I was in the Freedom from PCOS program a few years ago before I worked with Insight. That was the first time I'd ever posted on social media because I had a little bit of a phobia of sharing myself. And so it felt scary. But I tell you, when I started sharing and putting my intention out there of these are my health goals, just like we had in this group, right? These are my health goals and this is why. That was a life changer for me because that's when things started changing. Not just health things, but job, relationships, how happy I was, my goals in life. So this isn't just about, dropping a few sizes and getting clear skin and balancing your hormones. Oh yeah, those are awesome, right? This is about your whole life. Because when you feel amazing, your life changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, we'd love for you to post your questions here, any questions that you might have of us. And one of the things that we haven't mentioned is that, in our beautiful community, there are women who have been in there for years, like Rebecca and Annalisa, who was on yesterday, and Mandy. And, we have what we call you
Yeah.
know, the tribe leaders, right, who really have been there, done that, committed, know that you can be well. You know, there are sages. And so when when you have the struggle, they're there to support you. And I think that, we have the newbies, we have those who've been there a while, and then we have those who have really, been there, done that, and who can really support you. And so, you kind of have to, you have to surround yourself with women who get you. And you have to surround yourself with people who you want to be like,
Yeah.
because our health is only as good as the health of those around us, as like the average of the health of those around us. So it's really important for you to start surrounding yourself with people who are like you want to be,
Yeah.
and people who love you no matter what, and people who support you and get you and can help advise you even.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're not selling a support community, but we're selling a whole system that helps to replace what you're missing, and kind of remove the sort of hibernating bear syndrome, and help you to ramp up your metabolism, the beliefs about yourself, help to inspire you, get you where you want to go. The nutrients alone have, I was reviewing them today because we're actually going to be boosting them even more coming up soon. So I know all of you who are on the nutrients are going to be so happy. I love like continuing to make our system better and better. And so they give you, like, women say that they notice and so much more energy, immediately. You know, like I shared yesterday, one woman got her cycle back, the first month she was on the system. That's crazy, amazing, fast, right? Really fast. So, changes don't always happen that quickly, and it really depends on how much you implement, how quickly, but even those little tiny steps over time have a
Mm-hmm.
huge impact. So, Rebekah, like, what is one piece of advice that you can give a woman who's just not sure whether she should jump into the five element system or not? Like, what would you like her to know?
Well, it's hard to choose one, but I think I will say it's your life. Why not make it the best that it can be? I'm big in research and I love to understand what's going on in my body. For me, I read the ingredients and looked up each ingredient and said, what is this doing for my body? And then I was like, whoa, that's amazing. So if that's where you're at, then do your research. Look at the ingredients, see how they'll support you. Because understanding how that's affecting your body is part of the healing process. Understanding why you've been ill is part of your healing. So learn those things so that you can heal, so you can receive healing. Because if you're resistant, if you're doubtful, our body knows that and it will respond that way. So while, like Robin said, it's not an overnight change, it kind of is, because there are things you will notice pretty soon, like being aware of, oh my gosh, I'm not craving that whatever junk food. That was a big one for me, and that happened pretty fast. Um, it's worth trying. I don't want to sell you something, but I want to share this with you because this changed my life for huge, huge things that I mean, we didn't even really touch on. There's so many details of everyone's story, right? And I'd love to sit down with each of you and know your story and share with you mine. When you balance your hormones and when you balance your body, it does change your life. Learning how to do that is part of the fun of the journey. So why not start now? Why not be Amelia Earhart? And the most effective way to do it is do it, right? So why not?
Yeah, so true. So let me share. So this is a page that you can go to actually um, to learn more about the system. This is happens to be a very special page just for this week, actually. So we created the special page just for this week. If you want to learn more about the system, you can go to pcos.com, and then you can just, I think, select shop for the system, something like that. And then it'll give you, there's a video, it'll give you all the information. This is an abbreviated page because it actually has a really special offer if you decide that you want to participate for 3 months. So 3 months is the minimum. I mean, you
Yeah.
want to commit to this for a year, but 3 months is a great place to start. So you basically get 3 months for 2 months for the cost of 2 months. So I really encourage you to jump in right here at this level. And then you can read more about it, see what you get. But it's pretty amazing, and it's a really inexpensive way to get some really profound help. It's really inexpensive, right? My programs are thousands of dollars. This is, less than $100 a month right now.
Yep.
It's going to go up before long, but for right now, it's less than $100 a month. It's a no-brainer, right? And these are tools that you can use for the rest of your life. So this is not, this is not like this is not a diet. It's not a diet, right? It is a lifestyle. So, I talked last week about, eating more and exercising less, and that's exactly the sort of things that we teach you. So I encourage you to jump in with both feet. It's been such an honor, Rebekah, visiting with you today, as always. And I'm just so grateful that you shared your insights and your journey with our beautiful community here.
I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to share this with you ladies and with you, Robin. It's a special thing. I've had the privilege of reading many of your comments when you join this beautiful group. And I'm just so impacted by you ladies and your quest for your health and your quest for your daughters and your granddaughters and your nieces, the whole gamut. You all are there. And I'm so touched by you that you're there. And I'm reminded of my amazing mother. So I'm proud and pleased to be with you ladies.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. It's been amazing being with you. Tomorrow we have Amy Ehrlich. She is amazing as well, has a fantastic story, and she'll take you from sort of the depths of hopelessness to how she is really being so successful with her health. And so we'll just continue to be inspired. All right, have a wonderful rest of your evening. We'll see you tomorrow.